Hello everybody. Welcome to the first ever League Bleed Orange Fireside Chat. I'm Commissioner Horniak, your commissioner. And this isn't going to be like any normal show. That's right. As I sit here with my favorite vintage, that's 2%. I sit in front of you with a slightly heavy heart. The league that I built with the Founding Five, you know who you are. The league that we built on a foundation of camaraderie. It's kind of been going through some turmoils in the recent weeks, and yeah, I just want to kind of clear the air a little bit, make sure that we all still have that brotherly love for each other. We all know that it started when a certain trade went down. That's right. Team Juggernaut and Team Carry the One. One in first place, one in last. You know who you are. They decided that now's the time, right in the playoff hunt, to make a deal. One can't make the playoffs. One already has his playoff spot secured. In fact, I think he's pretty much got a first seed secured. They decided that last week was the time that let's just make a deal. Let's get crazy. Let's move some players around. And that didn't go over well with the league. Ended up getting vetoed, which has only happened one other time in league history, and surprisingly, Jay Lang was involved in that trade too. Trend? Maybe. I'm not pointing any fingers. But, yeah, it ended up that the two members, the two team owners that made the trade, they didn't veto it. And our friend from Florida, Justin Bledsoe, he also didn't veto it. But a poll that I took as I questioned people about the situation, all 7 other owners would have vetoed that trade. In fact, some tried to veto it, but it was already vetoed because people really wanted it vetoed. So 7 out of 10 said that it was a bad deal. Now, is it a bad deal? Well, looking back, Mike would have won. That's correct. Mike would have won if he made the deal. But more importantly, what we need to focus on is that Mike winning and losing, while important, does not affect the big boy bracket. That's correct. There's going to be 4 teams that are going to be playing for money. Okay? Now, what this trade would have done was sent Jamal Charles, okay, to Jay Lang, who is starving for running backs. I see you, Starks and me. I think he started Kamish in a running back slot. So what the trade would do was give him an option, and a good option. Okay, although he's been a little bit up and down. Jamal Charles is still a high number 2 back. Okay, what was he giving up? Well, he was giving up a flex running back in Fred Jackson, and probably a number 2-ish wide receiver in Randall Cobb. But he was also receiving Stevie Johnson, who's, I would say, is probably a low-end number 2 wide receiver. So what he was giving up wasn't enough. Not in my views, and not in the views of 7 other team owners. Now, would this trade have been different if it was done with a contending team? We all might be asking ourselves. And I would say that it's a resounding yes. Now, would the trade have been different? Would have passed if pieces were taken out or added? I would say yes. After further review, with many conversations that I've had between my good friend Jay Lang, he thought that Fred Jackson and Cobb for Jamal Charles would have been fine. I actually kind of agreed with that trade. I would say 75%, I probably would not have vetoed that deal. But when you add the other pieces, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. What this brings us to is the fact that we all pay money, but more importantly, we're all in this together as a league. Okay? So we all should have control of our teams, but there are certain times when things that we do affect others. Mike, I'm looking at you, buddy. Jamal Charles is a huge piece to be going from last place to first place and affect a playoff picture. So, while I'm not saying that Jamal Charles can't move, I just think that, and I think that others think, that it's got to be for the right package. So, just know that trades can still happen. As of right now, we can still get a deal in, okay? So if you're out there, keep on it. Keep on the phones, okay? But just know when you call somebody, if they don't want to trade for whatever reason, that is completely their prerogative. They can run their teams however they see fit. As long as they don't have bye week players, as long as they aren't randomly dropping great players, as long as they aren't screwing up our league, they can do whatever they want. Mike, hey man, start. Let me look back here and find. Let's see, who did he take? That's ridiculous. Well, pretty much any of your draft picks, you could start them and it'll be fine. But just know that trades are easier at the beginning of the year, obviously. Okay, at the end of the year, people are in playoff contention. Okay, so let's just all be focused on the fact that we have a veto power currently. Also know that I will be looking into what we can do in the future to rectify the situation. Maybe take it out of the veto hands, per se. Perhaps if you're out of contention for the playoff bracket, the big boy bracket, perhaps you can only trade with the teams that are 5 spots directly above you or below. I think that that would let Mike trade with over half of the league, and not put such bad tastes in people's mouths about a deal from 1 to 10. So, I mean, that's just a thought. Obviously, much reviewing to be done, much analyzing, much research, and of course, we'll have to vote on it. So, because this is a democracy where everyone has their own voice, be it right or wrong. So, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. That wraps up the commissioner's position. That wraps up how I feel that we kind of got off track as a league here about this situation. On a lighter note, I want you all to be excited about something. As you all know, we've become a keeper league this year. That's right. After this season, you're going to be able to keep one player off your team. You will forfeit your first-round pick to keep that player. Okay, keep that in mind. This is how we're going to run it this year with our keepers. Basically, at the end of the year is when our off-season starts. Pretty much as soon as that trophy's handed over, we're already looking towards next year. Probably about maybe a month and a half, 2 months out from our draft date, I will contact each and every one of you. And what I will be requesting is who your keeper is. How we'll do it is we'll do it in reverse order of standing. So champ, whoever the champ is, you get to go first. You get to tell the league who your keeper is. And we'll go in reverse order of standings. Okay, so that way everyone will know who's keeping who. Now, also remember that you don't have to keep a keeper. No keeping keepers if you don't want to. So you can always just keep your first-round pick and go from there. Obviously, that gives whoever came in dead last the ability to see who's been kept and decide from there if he even wants to keep somebody. Maybe he doesn't. From that point, what we're going to do is, after all the keepers are in, after we know who's going to be picking where, who's already taken, I will request from the 5th place team, whoever gets 5th place this year, what pick they desire for next year's draft. Hopefully they've done some research by this point and decided on that. After they decide their pick, we'll have our annual Bleed Orange draft lottery, and we'll decide from there where everybody's picking. This is pretty exciting. This is a new step, a step forward for our league. And one other exciting thing that I forgot to mention is that your keeper player is a valuable trade asset. That's correct. Aid your keeper player for draft picks in next year's draft. So what that does is that allows the person you're trading with the ability to know who they actually have on their roster when they're giving up picks. a vast difference from where we've been at in the past, where you're just trading for a spot. So there you have it, folks. I'd like to thank you all for coming with me on this this journey. This fireside chat episode has taken us down. I believe that we've cleared the air. We've got some. We're gonna have challenges to come, okay? But we'll get through them as a family, okay? Because that's what we are. Just know that in a week or so we're gonna have our playoff edition. So we'll preview the matchups going into the playoffs. So look for that in the Bleed Orange recap show. So until then, I wish you all good luck, unless you're playing me.